Well, today retailers are stocking their shelves and getting warehouses ready for the busiest retail weekend of the year, the so-called Black Friday sales. Business editor Ross Greenwood joins us now. Ross, I'm very familiar with these sales. Are the bargains going to be as big as expected this year?
Well, you'd hope so. I mean, what do you got your eye on, Laura? Have you had a look at anything yet or not? Because the email box is right full at the moment. That's true.
Yeah, Ross, if I'm honest, I'm multitasking right now.
Well, exactly. Very good. Because, of course, that's the reason why these sales have become so popular is because they're ahead of Christmas, whereas the Boxing Day sales, which were traditionally the biggest sales day of the year, are after Christmas. Now, people always knew that they could get the bargains then, and the reason for that was because basically retailers then were clearing their stock. And the reason they were clearing their stock is because they knew there was more stock coming in. Now, the important part about these sales ahead of Christmas is it means the strategy for retailers is changing. So, therefore, the strategy for shoppers is also changing. They try and almost whet your appetite in some ways in these Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales to try and make certain, A, you're ahead of Christmas, and B, to really get you spending in the habit of spending going to Christmas. So if you have a look at what the Australian Retailers Association and Roy Morgan are forecasting, they're saying that over this 4-day period, which is pretty much starting today and going through until Monday, $5.4 billion will be spent. But the Commonwealth Bank is also putting this into some perspective for those retailers. And that is they're saying if you compare it with the week previous, you'll see that there's an increase of 14% week on week. Now, it's not just, say, for example, the retailers get a benefit from this, but it's also, if you think of the knock-on effect, all the payment situation. So it's the likes of the afterpays, the zip pay, all those where people think as though they can stagger out their spending during this month and make certain that they can afford it. So it's not just the retailers themselves who are getting the benefit of these sales.
No, certainly not. And after 2 years of lockdown, we've got a bit of savings that, money that we haven't spent over that time. But we keep on hearing about shortages of goods, supply chain problems. Will that affect these sales?
It sure will, because let's be honest, if you are not confident that you can restock once these sales are gone, as a retailer, you've got the dilemma. Do you go on sale now, or do you basically hold back some of that stock at fuller price, basically in the knowledge that maybe it's going to be tougher to get your warehouses full again? Now, I'm thinking about things such as anything with a computer chip in it. We know there are computer chip shortages coming out of Taiwan and out of China. And also, if you think about, sort of a lot of the electronic goods as well. So this is going to be really a bit of a timing thing. And that's the reason why you're going to have to really cast your net fairly widely to try and look for the bargains, because you'll recognise that different retailers will be employing different strategies. It was really interesting that the Reserve Bank had indicated just this week that they believe that really Australian retailers are not seeing the sort of supply chain shortages that many have advertised. But I've got to tell you, talking to a lot of those retailers themselves, even the price of getting a container shipment to Australia has gone up in some cases 5 times over the past 12 months.
Yeah, it's wild. It's affecting the building industry as well. Ross, before I get to what the RBA has done in New Zealand, what's the best indication of how long these supply chain issues will take to resolve? Is there a view that it might wash through in the next 12 months or so, or is it one of those longer term problems?
No, I think there is some sense it will wash through. And the reason is, if you think about it, building a container to try and, get more goods shipped is not a difficult thing to do. It's a fairly straightforward thing. So as soon as you build more containers, one of the problems for Australia right now is that many of the containers, because of the price of shipping, they're actually sending those containers to North America or to Europe from Southeast Asia because they get more money for them. And so as a result, we're not seeing as many containers coming here, which is only exacerbating the price problem and therefore the inflation as well.
Ross, I need you every day when I go shopping, but here's good enough.